a bullet! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. Here's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
On by Paul Pantella, on for a hat-trick.
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day, and Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby!
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class! Burnley have done it! Fantastic! Clarence deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everybody and welcome along to the latest episode of the Turfcast podcast. Full-time show with me, Joe Redmond, and the boys as we look back at a game which probably cements our place in the Championship already. I mean, I personally was already pretty convinced we were going down. I'd already accepted it, but there was still some people on the hashtags saying, who knows, beat Brighton, beat Sheffield United, we could do it. And to be fair, when we went 1-0 up for them measly 3-4 minutes, whatever they were, I looked at the league table. I started working it all out in my head. But then, well, we'll get on to the goal. We'll get on to the goal that we conceded. But yeah, a horror from Muric. Threw it all away. But as you can see, I'm joined by Liam, otherwise known as Vizza. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Each time I listen to the intro to this show, week by week, I get more and more nostalgic each time I hear Phil Bird say that we've won the second tier, and I'm getting more and more happy about the day. Yeah,
it's. I saw something yesterday. I think a Burnley fan tweeted it. Apologies if it were somebody whose name I can't remember who it is. Apologies if it was somebody who's seen this and was like, "Why don't you mention me?" I've completely forgot. But it said it was a picture of a big YouTuber that you'll know, Liam. I can't remember his name. Like crying. And the image, the wording says, me watching highlights of my team at 2 a.m. from when they were good. And someone put on it, Burnley fans watching highlights of last season. And that's what it will be in the future.
I've already been watching kids. I think the Middlesbrough game, I gave it a watch last night, the 3-1 win at home, and also the away. Great times.
The away one was beautiful. That 3-1 at home, though, it were a hard-fought win with some dodgy decisions in there. And we've had a few of them this season, the dodgy decisions, but not enough hard-fought wins. And down at the bottom, you will see someone that you might be familiar with if you watch Turfcast. He does send match reactions in quite a lot, but this is his first ever live stream. He's making his debut on the show, on the live streams. How you doing, mate? It's Andrew.
Yeah, not bad, Joe. No, thanks for having me on. It's funny because after match yesterday, after sending fan reaction, I thought, you know what, I've got a lot to say about this. I might see if you need someone for the stream because there were a lot of things that I needed to say and get off my chest. So, no, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, well, John says hello, Andrew. Ginger Ali says hello, Andrew. Everyone's making you feel fantastically welcome. A big Turfcast welcome to Andrew. And you will get the chance to say everything you need to say, mate. So we will get into that. But before I get started... Sorry, go on, Liam.
There's a lovely hat as well.
It is a great hat. You know what? I do like Andrew's fan reactions because he's always got a hat on with the straight cap thing, which I think is something that the kids do these days. Obviously, you know I'm just more of a flat cap guy. Oh, is it? It's not wrong. I've got good hairline.
I've got the flat cap. I've got the JJ Watt hat. But I just need a hat on.
Yep, fair enough. To be fair, I did get a bit of criticism from one of my, and he's in the chat, it's Liam Beach. I did get a bit of criticism from a fan reaction once where my hair was a bit like this and he put on it underneath it. Look at the state of his hair. So I get that, mate. I nearly thought, well, I'll have to wear a hat soon. But hello, Andrew, says Martin as well. So thank you, everybody, for welcoming Andrew to the show. But before we get started, I just want to remind everybody that the Turfcast podcast full-time show is officially sponsored by Wave Car Finance. Wave Car Finance are a local car finance company who specialise in getting you your dream car through their fantastic one-to-one personalised service. Their finance-first approach ensures that you can secure the very best in a finance deal tailored to suit you, and they can even settle any existing finance agreement and swap your current car into a new one. And to celebrate this brilliant new partnership between Wave Car Finance and Turfcast, if you mention Turfcast podcast to them, they will give you a voucher worth up to £200 to spend at the Burnley FC Club shop on completion of your finance deal. So why not pop down to their stunning showroom in Warley, or give them a call, or even just send them an email or message them on social media to start your new car adventure today. And don't forget to mention Turfcast, because it's basically £200 worth of free merchandise. Good to see a Sheffield United fan in the chat already. Let's keep it friendly, mate. As somebody said already, it's going to be El Shitticore, two horrendous teams who will be battling it out for the title of who is the shittest, which currently does belong to Sheffield United. Let's not beat around the bush, especially after we smashed them 5-0 at the Turf. But I think they're a better side now with better players. Obviously signing the fake Chilean, who will be more than up for it. And I will be fuming if he scores against us, because the internet in Shazworth will miraculously get turned on again, like it has done this weekend. But we'll get into everyone's thoughts in a minute. Just want to welcome everybody, into the chat. Keep your comments coming in. Moretti Maru says, good evening. John Payne says, Muric has got way too many mistakes in him. How many did he make last season? We'll get into that in a minute, mate. Claret and Blue 1882 says, what a fantastic game. As John goes on to say, he says, what game are you watching? I agree with that one. Liam B said it last week, we're down. Bring on Saturday, Tuesday games, Derby games, and the double over the bastards, since it now looks like they're staying up. I'd still rather they go down, mate. But it does look like they're staying up. Muric in, by the way, he says, Ginger Alley, he says, greetings. Liam Beach goes on to say as well, robbed of a pen with missed sitters. A lot of back passes to Muric. One will be a mistake in the end. Poor subs, no Benson. J. Rod needs to leave/retire. We will actually be having a chat later on, thanks to some hard work behind the scenes by Liam about who we should be keeping next season in the Championship. Burnley season 30 says, evening, lads. Claret and Blue 1882 says, evening, lads. GST says, evening, gents. Martin says, hi, guys. John Payne says, we can still stay up. Not sure about that one, mate. Nathan Smith says, we beat ourselves yesterday. Yeah, we did, mate. And how many times have we said that this season? I feel like, Liam said earlier, like, you feel like you're probably saying the same thing over and over again on these full-time shows. I think you said that before we went live, actually, didn't you, Liam? But like, you're repeating yourself. And that's what I feel in the fan reactions. I'm just constantly repeating myself, saying the same thing. And I've said we beat ourselves so many times this season, and I completely felt like that again yesterday. Theo, not Theo, says the lineup for this stream changes more than the Burnley team at the start of the season. Yeah, well, apologies, mate. Neil and Sam have officially been sacked for not showing up again. It's the second time in a row for Sam, and about the 5th out of 6 for Neil. So, lads, the P45 is in the post. It's not really, everybody. Please don't think, well, I'm unsubscribing now. There's no Sam or there's no Neil. But yeah.
Wait, they're getting paid?
I'll discuss.
I wasn't aware of this.
I'm joking. No, obviously nobody gets paid. Welcome to the Championship, says Chris P. Jamie Water. Oh, read that. Read that, mate. Read that one. The Brighton fans chanted about Jay. Yeah, to be honest, mate, I won't discuss that. All I will say is it's pathetic that the fact that they're still saying it now. I'm going out to buy a car now, even though I can't drive for medical reasons, says John. There you go. Advertising on Turfcast works. But yeah, plenty of people commenting. Get your comments coming in. I can't read every single one of them, but please keep your comments coming in and we will read out the best ones. Right, lads, let's have a look at the game then yesterday. Liam, I'll start with you. General thoughts on the match. Obviously, we'll get into the penalty and the Muric mistake and the sitters individually going forward. But what was your general thoughts on the game yesterday, please, mate?
I didn't think we played that badly at all. You know, it felt like
I agree.
A large amount of games that we've played this year, especially at home. Now we start pretty well, and we have some decent control of the game, and we have some I guess, half chances. I guess you could say that if you had a bit of clinical edge, can create an actual goal. But unfortunately, that's just an inconsistent part of our squad for the entire campaign. But again, it's similar to the other week when people were going at the players for, like, no fight. I don't even enjoy this team anymore. I saw some pretty big people that's even involved in the advisory group saying that I don't even like this team. I'm like, I think that's a bit harsh. I think that's really harsh. Like, the simple fact is we don't have the quality, and that's just what's made us pay the entire campaign. I think that the idea is correct. I think the actual philosophy by the coaches, I think it's correct. I don't think that they're doing anything because the alternative of going for a different style of football, I don't think would work either. So all in all, it's an absolute stupid mistake that's led to us not winning the game. But I don't think it's one of them now. I think people should really be too bothered about and going at the players. We play pretty well. Against Brighton, now are a very good team. They're a very good footballing side, and we, like many games this year, were on the level with them. We just didn't have the quality to make it pay on both ends of the pitch. So that's kind of how the season has gone.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you said the same thing in your fan reaction, didn't you, mate? I think, again, you've said it a few times this season, but what can you do? The performance personified the season to a T. Toothless up front. We actually played all right. I normally say toothless up front, spineless at the back. We actually played all right defensively, but we still made that one mistake that ended up throwing it all away. We obviously had the chat. I agree with Liam in the fact that we actually overall played quite well. I don't see how anyone could disagree with that. I know a lot of people do like to be reactionary, and a lot of people were admitting they were being reactionary on Twitter yesterday when they were chatting certain things, again, which we'll get into. I don't want to mention it just yet because I want to ask everybody individually later on. But I thought the performance was good. I know we didn't break... Who did we play? Brighton. I had a massive brain fart then. I know we didn't actually break them down officially because we didn't score. But it depends how you look at the game, because tactically we did break them down, didn't we? Because we missed the two sitters. So Company and Bellamy be looking at that and saying, well, they've done the job. We just need to be more clinical, which is exactly what Liam just said then. We had the chances. We should have been 2-0 up at half-time. You can't get away from it. The JBL chance, bit more difficult than the Fofana chance. Again, we'll get into it. But yeah, we missed some sitters, and then to give the goal away that we did. But yeah, I do agree with Liam. I thought we played well. Thought we would probably deserve it of the lead when we went in front. Fortunate goal, but they all count. We just typical Burnley. Threw it all away, shot themselves in the foot, and ended up beating themselves yesterday. Even though they didn't lose, it feels like a defeat, but ended up beating themselves yesterday. Andrew, you did say you've got a lot to say. You want to get a lot off your chest about the game. Now's your chance, mate. What were your thoughts on the game yesterday, please, buddy?
Yeah, so like you and Liam have just said, I didn't think we played too bad. I think going forward, like you said, we're toothless going forward. There were a lot of times where we could have had a shot where we decided to try and pass it. If we're on the wing, rather than trying to cross it in and try and have a shot, we're passing it into the middle to then pass it back out wide. When we're in the middle, rather than having a shot, we're trying to pass it out wide to get the ball in, and then there's no one in the box. I think there were a moment probably about 70th minute where we're running down the wing with Ordberg. Assignon is the furthest player, like bombing forward, the furthest player forward. Why is your right back running that fast when you've got Fofana and Foster to go forward? It was just frustrating. But yeah, can't really complain about the effort, because it did look like the lads had run themselves into the ground. Muric, it was a mistake, but we tried to play that kind of football. It's going to happen. It's just, I think we've all said it, it's the story of our season, isn't it? It's just, we play decent. There's a dodgy call from referee that we don't get. And we shoot ourselves in the foot.
Exactly that. And because of what happened yesterday, because the main talking point is the Muric mistake, it always was going to be, people have forgotten about that penalty. And you mentioned it there. And I'll be honest, I've made notes about the game. All right, I got back here at 8 and I had to dive on live pretty much straight away. So I did forget a few things. But there's a comment this year come in as well, like Burnley fan till I die, I think that says. What about the pen shout? It's criminal again, isn't it? Like, I would like to bring it in or a screenshot of it. But the video that I had has been taken off Twitter since due to copyright, as it always is, and I forgot to take a screenshot at the time, so I don't have a screenshot. But I'll stick with you, Andrew, because obviously you just mentioned it. It's absolutely criminal, is it? It was a penalty. He makes no attempt to get the ball. He does make an attempt to get the ball, but he's nowhere near it. And Odebear is fouled, and I don't understand how it's not given. Like, I genuinely don't get it.
It was just... It summed up the refereeing for the game for me, because he was just awful all over the field all match. I think I've retweeted the same video that you'd seen and just put, get us out of this league, because I'm just sick of it. And a Liverpool fan said to me, is the Championship better refereeing? I said, not necessarily, but it's the fact that if the referee's not seen it, which I don't believe for 1 second, you've got the linesman there who's not seen it, and then you've got the blokes in Stockley Park who've not acknowledged it. We're in a league where there's so many cameras all over the pitch, and yet it just didn't. There's so many cameras there, and yet they've not picked it up. And I don't want to say that it's corruption, because it's a bit stupid, but the fact that we're having so many of these calls against us, it's just incompetence from the referees. It were blatant penalty.
I agree with you. I don't think it's corruption. I just think it's incompetence, and there is a big club bias. There always has been. I'm not necessarily whether it's conscious or not. I don't think it is. I just think referees will naturally gravitate towards the bigger clubs. And you're telling me if that happened at Old Trafford, they don't get it? Absolutely no chance. But the reason why
their penalty yesterday, United's penalty yesterday, it's like it's handball, but his arms by his side. If that were in our game yesterday, neither of our sides get that penalty. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's mad. There's a few comments coming in now about corruption and stuff. Like I said, I don't think it is. I just think they're incompetent. I think what VAR has built here now is they've built a team of referees that don't want to give big decisions because they can just say, well, it's up to VAR now. And then you've got VAR just not being good enough. That VAR, well, the people using VAR not being good enough. I don't get it. I don't understand how the referee's not giving it. But most of all, like you've said, I really don't understand how VAR's not giving it. It's absolutely scandalous. It really is. But it's a penalty all day long. And M Mac in the comments says VAR checking club badge. That's why it's weren't given. James Thresh says sooner we're out this shambolic league, the better. John Payne says, did anyone else notice you calling Andrew Sam? Did I do that? I don't remember doing that. Apologies. Apologies. It's funny because when I was doing the fan reaction podcast last night and I was doing the voiceovers, I did call Dan Morehouse Andrew. I just edited it out. It's easy when you're not live. I just edited it out. But yeah, M Mac as well says, say it, the Premier League is corrupt and it's obvious it has been for Liam. I'm thinking come to Liam next in my head, and it has been for years. But Liam, your thoughts on that penalty then? Because obviously it looks pretty blatant, but I don't think every single Burnley fan underneath the comments on the Facebook post and Twitter did think it were. Did you think it were?
I mean, this is part of the reason why I'm just completely bored of this league. Mainly because we're spending half of these reviews for the last 6 to 9 months just talking about referees, talking about VARs. And I look at this similar to how I saw the Jay Rodriguez call against Bournemouth early on in the year, that I kind of don't care. I don't care about it. I just see it. And this corruption nonsense, I think it's a loser mentality personally, because I see it from every single fan base. It's not just Burnley. It's Wolves. It's West Ham. It's Arsenal. It's Liverpool. It's all these clubs that are these corrupt. No, they're just shit. They're just shit. They're not against you. The world isn't against you. And the world's not against us either. They're just inconsistent. And as you said, the referees they're too scared to make big calls, and then they don't make a call, and then it goes to VAR, and then it's all about is it clear and obvious? And it's just bollocks. And that's why I cannot wait to get out of this league, for the pure reason that I can stomach a shit decision in the championship, as I can at least put it down to human error. I saw the West Brom game midweek against, I think, Rotherham, that it was a handball outside the box, but was given as penalty. They're like, this is what you want, yeah? I would at least stomach the fact that he made a shit decision, but it was at least in the moment, and that he's not got 8,000 cameras and 5 other people in a caravan to go check it over and still get the wrong error. I can at least stomach that. I just personally am bored of talking about it each week. And in terms of the Odebert one, I can see it completely being given this level. I don't think it's as bad as what other completely awful calls we've had this year. But, you know, like, he didn't touch the ball. He completely bodged him out of the way. People would say that's him just, you know, shoulder barging and using a strength. I think is a bit more forceful. But, hey, you know, like, end of the day, we're shit. We're not staying up, not because we've had awful errors the entire season, but because we haven't put the ball back in net enough times. And for some reason, our own goalkeepers are fucking putting them back in net for them instead. And that's happened now 2 in a row, the biggest games of the campaign. So
yeah, well,
that's my honest thoughts about it. It's not just Burnley; it's every fan base thinking the world's out to get them, and that's all people talk about. And I'm just sick of it now, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I'm fed up of talking about it, but you've got to when these decisions go against you. I mean, when you look at the one that Chelsea got given against us and you look at the one yesterday and you compare the two, how can they give that one but not give the other one? Yes, it's a different refereeing team.
It's inconsistency. That's why I just use VAR for offsides, which I think that she was automated. Fantastic, great news. I love that. But in terms of decisions, that's all objective or subjective, based on one person's opinion, which is their views different to another. There's no point having it, in my opinion, because it will never be a perfect world, and we want a perfect world, and that's never possible. So, like, I just don't see the point in it. So I'd rather have them make the decision themselves.
I said this at the time. I said, if you're going to bring it in for the black and the white, the offsides, the ball over the line, because that is factual. There's always going to be this grey area with stuff like penalties and free kicks. So if you want it to be used on that, then change the rules. So penalties and free kicks and stuff like that are black and white. That's what the NFL did when they brought in video assistant refereeing or whatever they call it over there. They changed the rules to get rid of the grey areas. So it's. I mean, I wouldn't want them to do that. I agree with Liam. Just change it have it for the important for the black and white. Sorry, Andrew, go on.
No, we're just going to say when it's black and white, though, they're still inconsistent. Like, at the start of the season, this was another thing that really, really wound me up. So at the start of the season, we got told that if you kick the ball away when it's a dead ball for the other team, you get a yellow card.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, we got a corner, and I can't remember what.
Oh, he volleyed it, didn't he? Into like top tier at Jimmy Mack.
He volleyed it. Yeah. Nothing got said. Nothing happened. And then the same player in the second half went down holding his head. Referee didn't stop play for a head injury, which he should have done when he stopped play earlier in the game for a non-head injury. And then the same player's having to do at the linesman, giving him a mouthful and gets a yellow card. Now, if he'd have been booked for booting the ball away, he'd have been off.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, you know, they deserved a man sent off and any of that. But if you're not going to give that yellow card for him booting the ball away, Anthony Gordon got sent off for the same thing 2 weeks ago. You know, it's just the consistency that there is none from the refereeing. And we say we want VAR to be brought in for the black and the white things. They're not even doing that right. They can't even do the black and the white things right, never mind the subjective, objective issues.
Yeah, so if they can't get that right, obviously they're never going to get the subjective things right. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess, but we'll move on because, as Liam said, it seems to be every single game now. And we're not going to stop discussing it because when Burnley are hard done to, we're obviously going to highlight it. We're obviously going to discuss it, but it is annoying that we have to do this every single week. But Liam took us on nicely earlier when he did say some of our keepers are putting the ball into the back of the net for us. So yeah, let's discuss the main talking point of the game. And I got a bit of stick yesterday on Twitter because I shared the Muric goal, and I'm obviously going to share it. It's a Burnley page with a main talking point, and someone said, "I thought you were better than this." Like, let's just calm down. We're going to share it.
Like,
we're going to share it.
A goal
and
in
we're
the
going to
game.
discuss it.
Come on.
Yeah. It's yeah, exactly that. It's being too sensitive, and I think a lot of people are too sensitive these days. But look away now if you are sensitive, because there it is on yours. Obviously, I can't show the video, and this doesn't do any justice. Just ignore the bit at the bottom that makes it look like this is an actual video, because I shouldn't have screenshotted that bit, but I did. Just leave it. But yeah, there it is. Obviously, the ball is passed back to him by, I think it was Sander. Again, he's under no real pressure, just like he wasn't at Everton. But he's not made the mistake because of pressure, like he didn't at Everton either. He just made the mistake because he's too casual, just like he was at Everton. In his defence, I think what he's probably doing is already thinking of the next pass, which is what Bellamy then said in the bit where he protected him, which I will highlight again in a bit for those who haven't seen it. Some good comments, to be fair, from Bellamy. I thought he spoke quite well. But he's under no pressure here whatsoever. It's a back pass that's not hit at him hard. It's hit at him quite tame. And Muric, for how good he is with the ball at his feet, needs to do a lot better than this with this, obviously, because this is why he's in the team. He's been brought in the team to give us a different dimension. And this is what he's meant to be good at. This is what we're all saying. He's here to do this sort of thing. But yeah, Liam, I'll start with you, because we were just chatting about it with you earlier about the keepers putting it in the back of the net. Your thoughts on this Muric mistake, please? I mean, it's just a lapse in concentration, isn't it?
I don't know what you want me to say here, really. I mean, it's just, Sunday League. I played a game in the 7th tier of Polish football earlier today, and if you saw that, you'd be laughed at. Never mind in Premier League. So, look, I've seen some people say online saying, "Oh, why are we still passing it back?" And it's our mistake. Yeah. Let's not be stupid here now, shall we?
Yeah.
Every single team in the division, unless if they literally cannot play football, passes it out to the back to the goalkeeper and distributes it that way. Let's not act like this is only a Burnley thing. So, yes, we pass it out back to the goalkeeper, which we have entirely last year and this year. So do most teams now.
Yeah,
I can't defend Muric for making a mistake. Never mind back to back. At this stage, I'm putting my hand up here and saying that, I'm available to go and goal next week at this stage, because we're just cursed when it comes to our keepers. Lawrence Vigouroux, he's about, isn't he? Give him a goal. We're already down, so let's just give him a goal, because, despite how much I've said quite publicly and many other people that I really like Muric, I think that he's a really good shot stopper, which I think he showed yesterday as well. But he has a screw loose, and he clearly has shown that in the last 2 games. And no matter how much I like him, I can't ignore this. I can't just put it down to a whoopsie, because 2 in a row in the biggest games of the season is just ridiculous. So, yeah, if Trafford starts next week, I won't complain, but it's just mental how we keep doing this to ourselves. It really is.
Yeah, it's obscene is what it is. The fact that we've done it to ourselves 2 weeks in a row. And this week threw away a win. Obviously, last week it probably would have been a draw because we offered nothing going forward. But this week we actually threw away a win. Keep your comments coming in. Burnley fan till I die said, seen someone say this, if Muric rightfully started, I think if he started the season, he would have cut the mistakes out months ago. Tend to agree, mate. He probably wouldn't have even made any, because he cut them out at the end of last season. Then he's had a time on the bench, and now he's obviously rusty again. But I do agree, that's no excuse for him. He needs to do better with this one. The comment on your screen from James Thresh, he says, I know what he's trying to do. He's putting his foot on top of the ball like he does all the time. Unfortunately, he's let it go above his boot. Claret and Blue 1882 says, someone should tell him maybe to try the side foot of the ball instead of trying to control it with the studs. Yep, fair enough. True Red says, far too panicky, just needed to boot it long. Unfortunately, mate, that's not the way we play, is it? But I agree, sometimes there is just a need for that, but this situation there doesn't really need it. Sui says, Muric still far better than Trafford, even though they did that every 6-7 games. Yeah, it's one of them. I think Trafford has never made this mistake, but Muric clearly offers us a different dimension. I think, and again, we'll get into that in a little bit, actually. I'll just get Andrew's thoughts on this mistake. So, Andrew, you did actually talk about it quite a bit on the fan reaction, the Muric mistake. What were your thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, what else can you say other than what you and Viz have just said? It's a monumental cock-up. There's no getting away from that. It's a mistake that you don't need to make, and we didn't expect him to make. But like I say, 2 weeks in a row we've made Muric has made silly mistakes that have cost us, but let's not pretend that Trafford's perfect. Trafford made mistakes that cost us points. We all talk about how good of a goalkeeper Pope was and how good of a goalkeeper Heaton was. They made mistakes when they were at Burnley. Obviously not in crucial games like this. I think that's why it makes it a lot worse. Obviously, I'm not defending him. That's Muric's ball. We expect him to get that every single day of the week, and he just cocks it up. But he's still a good goalkeeper. He still should, for me, should still be the number one. But yeah, it's a monumental cock up. There's not much more you can say, really.
I mean, his distribution across the game was also quite good. He made a great save at the end. Someone made the point earlier about, because he's been a bit rusty and he's not played throughout the entire year, that could be a part of it. And they do have a point in terms of last season. He made quite a few random mistakes during the early to mid part of the season. Top of my head, I could think of Blackpool at home. I could think of Watford at home, obviously, the time he got tucked off at half time. And then which one is it? Preston away for their goal. He just randomly slipped while being stood still. And I think he's done that multiple times. So again, even before he came in, we've always made clear that Muric, even before we got Trafford, was always seen as a bit of a question mark for this exact reason. That despite him being brilliant with his ball to feet, he's always got a bit of a screw loose when it comes to this type of thing, that he just goes mental, and that's kind of why we like him. The idea of him, what was it? Was it against Salford or something that he just did like a boner or something, or like was on a halfway line, like doing a diving header? We're like, oh, we love Muric, and that's like not a thing keepers do. We like that because he's mental, and this is clearly a part of his mental side of his game. So you love it, you hate it, and that's just kind of what comes to the territory, unfortunately. And this is what we have to deal with. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we were already down anyway, so I don't feel as bad about it. But at the same time, I want some momentum into next year for the Championship. I want some good feels towards the players in the club to go into next season. So it's just a shame in that regard, really. Because again, we will say it later on in terms of man of the matches, but Matt Steve, he's going to be absolutely remarkable in the Championship next year, because I believe he's got an obligation clause. So he was fantastic. So I feel really bad for him. And also Ekdal thought was really good too, that they deserved a clean sheet. So that's a real shame.
Yeah, no, they were really good. And we'll get onto that later. The positives, obviously. I do agree. Esteve and even Ekdal will both be beasts in the Championship. Then we've got Jordan Bay to come back. And as much as I've slated Dara, even though he's good for 89 minutes and then makes a mistake, I still think he's good in the Championship. But maybe we'll go the full season and don't concede a single goal. That will be fun. But yeah, obviously, not just the debate about the mistake, though. Andrew, I'll come to you, because I think you put something or said something in your fan reaction. There were some people discussing who should start next week when we play Sheffield United. Obviously, Trafford has been dropped recently, but there were some people talking on Twitter that they wouldn't be too bothered if Trafford was brought back in for the Sheffield United game. And Liam himself did just say he wouldn't be pissed off if Trafford was there for the next game, because you kind of understand it. But who do you think should be starting in goal, mate? And do you think Company sticks by Muric?
If it were my decision, it'd be Muric. I've seen enough of Trafford. Like all season, I've said Trafford will be a great goalkeeper. He will be a good goalkeeper. He's only a young lad. And to be honest, a year in the Championship would probably do him some good. But if it were up to me, I'd still be sticking with Muric, just because, like I say, we know he's got a screw loose. We know he can do some mad things, but we've only lost one game in 5 with him in net. And if there's any slight glimmer of hope of even the season just being enjoyable, even if there's no chance of staying up, it has to be Muric. But like Liam says, if it's Trafford, I can't complain, because Muric has made 2 cock-ups, and we were screaming for Muric to come in when Trafford were making cock-ups. So, yeah, I can't really complain if it is Trafford. I think Company might go with Trafford, just because of the comment he made earlier in the season about I will be proven right with the goalkeeper situation. And now that he sort of has been proven that Muric isn't quite capable in this league. So I think for Kompany's ego, he probably will stick Trafford in, but for me, it'd be Muric.
I'll put my hand up and say that I can go and goal for next weekend, actually, boys, and I'd be more than happy to do so. I mean, look, Muric has made 2 absolute awful errors. So, again, I would understand if Trafford starts next week, but at this, and you spoke about the comments from Kompany. I think the comments of Bellamy was also quite, it showed a lot as well, saying that, he said like he was top. He was top. It's not his mistake, it's our mistake, it's how we play, and that's how we're going to play. And he said multiple times that he had a top game. He had a top game, and he did have a really good game, literally, other than just that mistake.
Yeah.
And same thing for Everton for me, really. I thought it was really good. So it's just really stupid how this keeps happening. But if I can pick, if I was the one picking, I'll pick Muric. But it's just so stupid how this keeps happening. We're cursed. We are. There's no way how this can to have that happen back to back games in that manner that we've conceded both our 2 goals is obscene. So I don't know. It's just ridiculous how this happens to us. But let's hope that maybe our bad luck can all be used this season and we'll be okay for Championship next year.
Fingers crossed. For me, Muric is by far the better keeper. I know he's error-prone, as is Trafford, but these 2 mistakes from Muric have been far worse than anything Trafford's done all season. But as someone did point out earlier, Trafford does a lot of hospital balls. That's the difference. Trafford can't do the passes and the balls that we like of Muric, and he's not physical enough in the crosses and stuff, whereas Muric, he's better at them too, and in my opinion, just as good of a shot stopper, if not better. He's made some great saves over the last few weeks, including yesterday when it were 1-1. But then he just has these lapses of concentration because he's too casual. I just think it's a personality thing as well. Even yesterday when it happened, I'm not saying he wasn't bothered. He obviously was, but he's that chill. He just didn't look like he was that bothered. And I just think it's just the way he is. But for me, I would be pretty annoyed if Trafford was in the net now against Sheffield United, because it just annoyed me that he stuck by Trafford all that time without dropping him, despite him making errors and proving he's not good enough, to then just drop Muric after a couple of errors. All right, they've been massive errors. I do agree with that, but I think you've got to stick by him now. But I agree with you, Liam. Them comments from Bellamy, I do think are pretty telling that he will be going on and sticking by him. I won't read it all out, but he did say after the match to Craig Bellamy about Muric, it says, it's us, it's not his mistake, it's our mistake. Do you call it a mistake? I don't know. It's just how we're playing. We're not going to change. He's scored goals for us doing what he does, so it's one of those. It's not an issue. You might find it more of an issue, but honestly, I don't. I really don't. So that to me does suggest I mean, obviously Bellamy doesn't pick the team, but it does suggest that obviously that's how the management team thinks. And I do think that,
I do love the response to that too as well.
I agree.
Quite 50-50 of people like, oh, I really like Bellamy. What a great man backing his players. And then instead of it is like, oh, he's just waffling the same thing from Kompany and that it's just the same nonsense each week. It's like, you can't win, you know. Like, I don't know what you really want him to say, but I guess the idea of us playing the way we want to play and people just may want the Sean Dyche style of play of just hoof it up long to the big man, which, you know, did work for us back then and definitely won't work for us with these players now. I can assure you of that. If you want to style of football, it won't be with these players.
Yep. Go on, Andrew. You want to say
as well? I think the fact it's Bellamy and people are. Yeah, I think some people it's the fact it's coming out of Bellamy's mouth and he's still yet to win over some people. But I never thought I'd see the day where I liked Craig Bellamy like that. He was the comments he came out with, the way that he presented himself. Yeah, fair play to him. He said the right thing, and I think a lot of people, like my dad's been Kompany out for months, and I keep telling him to give his head a wobble and stuff, and he said, just like Liam did, you know, he's accepted it. He doesn't like the management thing. He'd like to go back to the Sean Dyche way of playing. Not being funny, if we tried to go back to the Sean Dyche way of playing with these players, we'd be getting battered 4 or 5-0 every week. They're not that type of player, then it just won't work.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously you referenced Heaton and Pope and stuff earlier, I think, Andrew. And there's another comment here saying we've been spoiled over the last few years. Heaton and Pope just didn't make errors like this, even just going back to the 90s with Marlon. I don't ever recall such calamities, just horrid mistakes. I do agree with that, but I put that on screen with just basically because of what you said, Andrew. Yes, Nick Pope and Tom Heaton were class, and they wouldn't have made that error yesterday, and they're definitely better goalkeepers, but he wouldn't be able to play the way that this management team wants to play. Especially with Nick Pope, because he was just horrific and still is with the ball at his feet. But he's a fantastic goalkeeper nonetheless. But it is what it is. That's the way we want to play now.
Well, in terms of our style of play, I was speaking to a United fan the other day when they drew to Bournemouth, and the fan base of United fans, they kind of really... There's a slight turning now to Ten Hag because he's been there for almost 2 years, and there's not really a clear identity, not really a clear style of play of how to defend and how to attack. It's kind of all over the place, and in their view, is kind of all spurred on by individual quality and just slight moments of magic that makes games happen. It all seems sporadic. Now, in terms of the final third, we are still like that at this level, and we were early on last season too, when it was still kind of gelling together, and it all came together after that 4-2 win away at Sunderland. It felt like that was when the season really kicked on for us. But I don't feel that way. Like, if you're a fan of a club, you still want your club to kind of represent something. And what Burnley meant to Burnley fans, to all of us for about, almost a decade with Sean Dyche is different to what it is now in terms of the way that we are meant to go and take out games, in terms of just the anti-football that we always chanted, anti-football, do. We loved it because it almost felt like what Burnley is, a small Milltown club up against the world. And that's still what we are in the Premier League, but we're now in this new modern era now. And I still think our identity is there. Like, people maybe calling for company, like your father. I still don't think that's necessary, because at least I can still see the identity there. I still think, we're playing these Premier League teams. We're still controlling a good chunk of this game. It's just the quality that's the main issue. And if the next time we hopefully do get back in Premier League, hopefully we'll learn from it. Hopefully we get some players. Like, my kind of, what I tell myself that I kind of feel quite warm inside is the fact that I think we have learned from our mistakes in terms of the transfer recruitment. Again, Esteve, I think, is a fantastic piece of business. And I think Astignon is as well, maybe less so, but he has moments of really good quality and some other moments that's a bit kind of on the edge. But it's kind of what you expect for a player at this level of Premier League. He's going to be kind of 50-50 sometimes. And I do hope we are learning from our mistakes, and I think we are. So for people that want company out, I just kind of think, I don't see it. I still think that we are still working together in terms of our style of play, our identity, and I still think for next season we're going to be completely fine.
I agree. I don't even see why people still want company out. I mean, I do, but when you look at the bigger picture, I still think we'll be fine with him next year. I still think we'll have a good year next year. I still think we'll go up again. I know some people don't want to discuss that and stuff and disagree with it, but I think he'll learn from his mistake. I think we will see the benefits of sticking by Vincent Kompany. So fingers crossed.
Do you want to be known for a club that sticks by the manager? You want to be known for a club that actually gives the manager time and makes him learn, because he's still a young manager too, and he's kind of bought enough credit in the bank, in my opinion. So, and again, if you don't want company, but you want to, like, who do you think we're gonna bring in? We're gonna bring in a manager that also plays modern, expansive football. So we're gonna be still doing the same thing, basically.
Yeah, that's obviously what the chairman wants.
Football, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, if you want Sean Dyche football, go and support Everton. I think is the only way to end that one. But obviously a lot's been said about the Muric mistake, because why wouldn't you? It was the main talking point of the game. But that wasn't the only issue with the way that Burnley played yesterday. We weren't great up front. Excuse me, we missed a couple of sitters, and we will get onto them. But before I do, I just want to bring you exciting news from Uphold, Burnley's sleeve sponsor for the 23-24 season and a supporter of Turfcast podcast. Uphold have now launched the limited edition Burnley Uphold card, giving fans a chance to show their support home and away. The card is free and comes with a host of benefits, including the ability to spend in any currency, anywhere in the world where MasterCard is accepted with no foreign transaction fees, competitive exchange rates, and easy integration with Google or Apple Pay. Get your card today at www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC. But that's not all. When fans use their card for the first time, Uphold will donate £5 to Burnley FC in the community, supporting the Burnley family both on and off the pitch. Numbers are limited. So again, visit www.uphold.com/BurnleyFC and get your card today. Terms and conditions apply. Right. Not great going forward. Is how I described it. Somebody again took issue with that because we actually did play well going forward, and that's fair enough. I'll take ownership of that one. I think I worded it badly, but we couldn't put the ball in the net. Yes, we brought them down in a tactical way because we missed a couple of sitters. One from JBL relatively early on, and obviously one from Fofana, both in the first half. Both of them should do better. There's no excuse for any of them. I think both of them should be goals, but the JBL one is a little bit more difficult than the Fofana one. Although that one did come at him with pace as well. But professional footballers should be scoring them. And as Liam just said, you'd probably even see them scored in the 7th tier of Polish football. But I will put them on your screen now. So that's the JBL chance. Now, it's difficult because I say it every week and everyone knows the copyright rules prevent me from putting the video up. But it doesn't show everything here. He's got the ball there from 4 yards out. So number one, it should be in the back of the net, but it's come at him. It's bounced right in front of him, and he's obviously making a run on the shoulder of the last defender and getting him behind. It's not a difficult chance, but it's harder than it looks from that still. But still, Andrew, I'll come to you first. It should be scored, shouldn't it, from JBL?
Yeah, he should be putting that in really from... I mean, I've looked at it quite a few times, and it were... When I was on the match, I thought he'd hit the post initially, and I thought, that's a great effort. And then obviously, watching it back, he should be doing better, but it's still a difficult chance. Like you say, the ball's dropped in front of him, it's bounced in front of him, it's come at him with pace. It's still not the best effort. He probably should be putting it in, but it's not the open goal like Fofana's was. I still think Fofana should have scored his, whereas this one, I can see why he's missed it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andrew, but Claret and Blue 1882 had the comment on screen disagrees. He says Larsson's chance was harder to miss than Fofana's. I just think with the ball coming at him and bouncing where it did, it's difficult. Yeah. Liam, your thoughts on JBL's miss?
I thought Andrew wanted to add something at the end there.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Go on, Andrew.
But I was just going to say, in fact, I can't remember what I was going to say now. Come back to me.
Write it down, Andrew.
I mean, I think the still image is not doing it any justice here. I think that it makes it look a lot hard, a lot easier, like a bigger miss than what it actually was. I think that it was it's amazing ball in by Odebert on his weaker foot. Fantastic ball in the back post there, and it's goal just over his head, and it's just bounced in front of him. And when you think of the goal he scored the other week against Wolves, the fact that he scores that but then misses this, it's just kind of one of them that happens in football. So I can't really say that is a complete sitter, but again, it's just kind of that lack of quality. Sometimes we're really good and got that, but we're just inconsistent. So, same thing for Fofana. I don't think that was a massive sitter. It's just one of them that sometimes you can forgive a player for missing that, similar to this, but when you don't go on to win the game and you're still not winning games of football week in, week out, it kind of adds up and makes it look worse than what it actually is. You can forgive him if it's like mid-table, but it's just a shame. But yeah, I just had a look here. I got some fantastic news, lads. We've only one loss in last 6 games, boys.
That's what I mean. We actually are playing better.
We got 4 draws in those 6 games, but hey, one loss in the last 6 games, boys. What are you complaining about?
And 1 win in the last 6 as well.
No. Forget don't
forget that bit. Yeah. So.
We're staying up. It's fine.
You briefly mentioned it there, Liam. The other miss. I've got obviously a screen grab from that one. I'll stick with you, Liam, because you just mentioned it briefly. It's this one, in my opinion, 100% has to be put in the back of the net. The only issue and the only slight excuse I will give him is that it's fizzed across the goal again by Odegaard, who a lot of people give him stick yesterday, again, saying he wasn't as good as he should be, but he should have 2 assists. He put 2 on a plate for the boys, and they didn't score it. But this one, Fofana, it's the second one in, 3-4 weeks that he's missed? But yet you give it him from 35 yards out and he sticks it in the top bin. But this one, it's a poor one, isn't it?
I mean, compared to the other sitter, it's nowhere near as bad. But yeah, it's again, you can forgive him for missing it if we're winning some games or we're doing somewhat decent. But it's just another thing to add onto the list of just being unfortunate when it matters and being clinical. But again, I want to say this as well about Odegaard, because I've seen some strange people online pointing out Odegaard and saying that he wasn't that good at all. And I don't know what game they're watching, because literally all of the threat that we had the entire game came from him. So I'm baffled, bewildered to see people pointing out Odegaard saying that he's not that good. Literally, he's our only threat and creative spark in our entire team. All of our attacks came from his side. So I just kind of want to point that out, because with these 2 chances alone, 2 fantastic
it's 2
chances
assists
created, and it all came from him.
Completely agree. He's created 2 massive chances there. I do think he was, for want of a better word, poor against Everton, but again, he was playing in a different position. And I think what people do is they base their opinion based on the last game rather than this game. And then they've gone and just said that about this game. But he should have easily had 2 assists. Sui does go on to say Odegaard give the ball away a lot though, Vizzy. I mean, there might be some stats.
He's trying to take players on. He's trying to create something. Like, do you want players to take a risk and to try to create something, or to not do anything like what we usually do and not create anything actually worthwhile? Because to actually have a decent goal scoring opportunity, you need to take a risk. You need a moment of quality, because otherwise they'll just easily mark you out, like what most teams do. So he's trying something new. So we can't complain about players playing it too safe and not getting ball in the box enough, and then complain for them for taking non-players and losing the ball sometimes. Because again, in these 2 chances here, he's put it on a plate and it's not been taken. So I kind of don't know what people really want from some of our players sometimes.
Yeah, fair enough. Andrew, your thoughts on the Fofana miss? Obviously, me and Liam have had our say, but I'll just point out again that it's been a couple of times he's done this now, isn't it? But obviously, he scores a goal at West Ham, and it was against Brentford, wasn't it, where he missed the sitter and then again scored like what was a harder chance. So a bit rough around the edges. He's young, will get better, but that's 2 big misses now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in disagreement with Liam there. I think this one was easier to score than Brun Larsen's, but I think the thing with this one, and this is what I was going to say before, is what's annoying is if he doesn't get any contact on the ball, you think, oh, unlucky, he's just not stretched far enough. But the fact that he does get contact on the ball and it just shifts away, I think it hits his left leg rather than going in, and that's the frustrating thing about it. If he'd got no contact on the ball, you'd have thought he's just not stretched far enough. But the fact he does make contact, you think, a striker should be putting that at least on target. If the keeper makes a fantastic save, then fair enough. But you should be getting on that. You should be putting that in the back of the net. And like you've just said about Odegaard, he's a young lad. He's been one of our best players this season. He was getting up the field, making the chances. He could have had 2 assists yesterday, and he's going for that. So I think, like Liam says, you've just got to remember what sort of player he is, and just give him a bit more of a chance and be less reactionary, really. But yeah, we should be scoring them 2 goals.
Yeah, 100%. And not forgetting the blatant penalty, which we should have had as well. But we could have easily been going into half-time at 3-0. But as Liam said, and as we've all said a million times this season, it just boils down in the end to a lack of quality. And I'm sick of saying it, but we're repeating ourselves all the time. I've seen a few comments. I've lost them now because I'm on about 15 different tabs here about Foster playing on the wing. To be fair, Foster didn't really play on the wing yesterday. He was pretty much up front for the majority of it. I do agree Benson probably should have come on. I'm just quickly on SofaScore now trying to find the heat map, but I can never bloody find it when I want to. But I'm pretty sure Foster played. he didn't play on the wing, basically.
He didn't play on the wing. It was Odemoton right. Foster near the end of the game went to the right-hand side a bit, and that was like maybe the viewing that as the entire game. But no, it was done. It was basically two up top, basically.
There were quite a few moments where the ball got played out to Foster on the wing, and I don't think he did too bad. He was getting at their defence. It was just there was no one up there to help him out. I think by that point we brought J-Rod on, who, as much as we all love him, he not quite up to Premier League standard anymore. There were no one in the box for him to get the ball to, and that sort of, again, like you say, sums up our season. We've got the effort, we've just not got the quality.
Can I mention something? Mike Trezor. What's that about?
It was weird, here? Weren't it? It's the entire thing's been weird with Trezor. There's been moments when he should have been playing and he wasn't, and then moments when he's been getting played, and I'm thinking, why is he playing him now at this time? He should have been playing him in X game or Y game. And then these 3 or 4 minute sub cameos. What's he going to do in that time? It annoys me.
It's baffling. It really is.
I think the management of Trezor has been poor this season. And I think the annoying thing about it is people can slag him off as much as they want and say he's shit. He's not shit. You can clearly see there's a good player in there. He might not be a Premier League player. It might be a case of the Premier League's too physical for him, but he's not had the chance. He's not had the run in the team to prove that. There's been a few games where he's started and he's been poor.
They think that he doesn't work as hard as he's not a grafter, so they think he's a bit lazy. That's the main issue that people have for him. But he's got the quality, but he seems a bit lethargic. He doesn't track back as much, which I get. I get that. Yeah. But the last time he got played was against Luton at home.
That's mad.
So I just kind of just don't get it. And again, what's Benson done to someone's wife? Are you kidding me? How is it still not being played, even with Bellamy on the sideline now?
I agree. I think yesterday was crying out for Benson, and I don't understand. There's certain people on the hashtags and the Facebooks that will just say, if you mention Benson, they immediately turn around and go, no chance, he's not strong enough. Based on what? What are we basing that on? Why do people suddenly think he's not strong enough all of a sudden? He's not been given a proper run in the side in the Premier League to prove he's not strong enough. But yet they played Trafford week in, week out, who clearly isn't strong enough.
I mean, it's different positions, but he was on the pitch for about 5 minutes against Wolves, and he basically made a chance to win the game for the crossing to J-Rod. That piece of quality is something that he can do that's very unique to him. That is a piece, it's a massive weapon to have. I don't know, like... It baffles me, really.
The thing with Benson is the thing with Benson is he's a one-trick pony. We all know that. But that one trick got us, 15 goals last year? 10, 15 goals last year?
And that one trick won us the league at Ewood.
Like to remind them that we did indeed win the league at Ewood. They're like, you didn't win the league, you won the championship.
I saw your tweet yesterday. The fact that they say that all the time, mate, proves that they're rattled by it. And the fact that they're chirping up, I've never seen them chirp up so much. This season, they're chirping up more than they ever have done. And that's because we hurt them. And they know they hurt them. They're all heartbroken and they're desperate to get revenge.
I was baffled. I said that, Sheffield Wednesday, hopefully you beat bastards and we can send them down. And you're so weird. It's like, I'm weird for wanting Blackburn relegated. Are you mental? I'd be more weird if I didn't want them to. It's like, but you don't want a derby. It's like, you've not scored a goal against us in 10 years, mate. We've played each other 5 times. You've not scored 1 goal. At Turf, you had 1 shot the entire game, statistically.
Yep.
I'm not bothered. We've gone down there 3 times now. Well, 3 times mortared, gone down twice, done the double on them, and then won the league twice in a row. What's everything got to say about us? If you're 40 plus that you've seen them win the league in 95, fair play. I can't take that experience away from you. But half of them aren't anymore. You might as well be on about winning the Champions League back in 1966 because it doesn't matter. Like us winning the FA Cup back in the first division back in 1960. That's about as relevant now as winning the Premier League back in 95. Because most of you weren't alive for it. Because I definitely wasn't. Were you alive for it? You're probably like 3 years old.
I was 7.
You were 7?
Yes.
God damn,
I'm quite old. I am.
But that's the thing. Would you rather be decent now, or you have a trophy?
Yeah, 100% decent now. 100% decent. The one thing I do want to see Burnley do now is win a trophy. 100%. That's the last thing I need to see them do before I die. I've seen them do everything else.
Yeah, but Joe, We saw him
Go
do
on.
it last season at Ewood.
True, we saw him win the league.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We've done it.
Just give me a League Cup. God, if you're listening, I know you don't exist, but if you did, give me a League Cup, mate.
Jesus.
No, Jesus does exist. God doesn't. But that's for a different show. That's for Bible studies with Turfcast. We'll have it in the summer when there's not else to talk about. But
I also want to say I'm happy for Brownhill getting a goal, even though it's a very lucky goal.
Yeah, it was a horrendous goal, wasn't it?
It was very Burnley, very Brownhill. But I'm happy to get a goal because he's been getting quite a bit of stick. And, people, I spoke of this last time, people kind of want him to leave for next season. For me personally, I get it for wages, but he's a guaranteed top tier player for the Championship. He was in team this season. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's just a piece of quality that we're just going to let him go to another likely Championship team and then boost up them massively. So I don't know. Yeah. It's a weird one.
I mean, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. You've done some hard work behind the scenes.
He's a good player.
Yeah, I agree.
When he's in the right position, he's a good player.
Yeah, if he's playing behind the strikers in the Championship, he will be fantastic. But obviously, we've actually got to an hour already. We've still got quite a bit to discuss because Liam has done a bit of hard work for us, as I mentioned already. But before we get into it, man of the match shouts. I know, Liam, you mentioned it briefly and said you probably who I think I know you're going to give it to, and I'm going to agree with you. But get your comments in, please. Put your man of the match in the comments. I will put them all on screen. We'll read them all out. And yes, we'll give ours. I'm going to give it to... You know what? I'm going to go a little bit different, actually. I'm going to give it to Ekdal. I do think Esteve played very, very well. And I do think the reason why Ekdal played so well is because he was next to Esteve. I think if he was next to Dara Rocher, there might have been a bit more of a calamitous pair of defending there. But Esteve was brilliant. But just for me, just with him coming back into the side after spending so long out, and again, another player who's not really been given a chance, it's a different debate, but I'd personally have him in front of Dara after watching him yesterday, although his lack of pace does worry me. But Ekdal coming in and playing fantastic, despite having so long out, I'm just going to give it in based on that. But anyone saying Esteve, I completely agree with because he was absolutely fantastic as well. Liam, I think that's the way you're going to go. Is it Esteve, Steve?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I mean, Ekdal deserves credit because he's not played for quite a while, so to come in and have a decent performance. Again, I've been seeing some people giving him sticks, saying, "Oh, he's way too slow. He's way too slow." It's like I don't really. I mean, sometimes I can see it, but I think he's got decent positioning. I don't think
yesterday he was never outpaced because his positioning was perfect, like you're saying, and he's got a footballing brain. So a lot of the times he's aware of his lack of pace, so he'll drop off, and obviously he covers the space. There wasn't any point yesterday where he was outpaced, but I have seen him outpaced a couple of times. The most obvious one was actually on the last day of the season against Cardiff at home last year. I don't know if you remember it. Excuse me, but someone went in through on goal, and honestly, it looked like he was running through custard. But yeah, he's a good defender. He's got a good footballing brain as Ekdal.
Yeah, so fair play to him. But Esteve, I said earlier, but it gives me some hope that we are learning from our lessons in terms of transfer recruitment, because I think he's a real good piece of business, and I really do like him, and he's still quite young as well. So yeah. I believe that we've got an obligation clause of, I believe it's it's either 8 mil or 12 mil. I think it's 8, I believe. No, actually 12, which is probably quite a lot for going down, but he'd be an absolute colossal. I mean, we've got actually quite a lot of good centre backs next year for Championship, to be fair. It seems like. So yeah, really, really good performance, and I'm just gutted that he didn't get a clean sheet, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. Andrew, your man of the match, please, mate.
I mean, I'm going to get some stick for this, I'm certain, but between Ekdal and Esteve, I can't argue with that. But up until the cock-up for the goal, I'd have argued Muric. Obviously, he made the cock-up for the goal. He looked a little bit shaken after that, but he made some cracking saves to keep us in it. He made some cracking saves after the cock-up. So yeah, I'd probably say either Ekdal or Esteve just for how they played for the full 90. But I think Muric, to get his head back up as well after making that mistake, and then he tipped one over the bar not long after. I just want to give him a bit of a shout out because he's got stick, and rightfully so. But I do still think he played well, other than the cock up. But yeah, I'd probably say Esteve.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you, everybody, for putting your comments in. Just a shout out to Colin McGlynn. I've seen a few comments from you now, mate, about company. We discussed it earlier in the show. You obviously missed it. You can just go back and watch it as and when. That's why I'm not answering you, because we've already discussed it, but nobody in here wants him out apart from you. I say apart from you. I think I know a few other people in the comments do want him out, but I meant on the panel. But yeah, just go back. Obviously, when I end the stream, mate, just feel free to go back and watch it, and you'll see our thoughts on it there. But yeah, Burnley fan till I die says Esteve. EZ John Payne says man of the match. Stephen Claret Blue 1882 says Esteve. Sui says Ekdal. Chester Claret says Esteve. Ginger Alley says Sander cannot be man of the match. He cost us a goal, did he? I won't accuse it being Sander's fault, mate.
Did you see how slow the ball was going? Come on now, you can't blame
Someone responded on Twitter saying that as well, saying, "Oh, wow, we're blaming Muric. Should we passing it back in the first place?" I'm like, sorry, mate, I'm not with you on that one.
I said that on the fan reaction that I said something about Sander passing it back, not highlighting that it was Sander's fault, but just saying there were other options to go forward. And I think someone's picked me up on it saying, how can you be blaming Sander anything to defend Muric? And I'm like, I'm not defending Muric. It was his cock up, but there were other options. It's not Sander's fault. It's the way that we play. But he's the one who passed the ball back to him. Not blaming him. Definitely not blaming him. But
I will never understand the way that some people think. There's no way. But the thing is with Ginger, he's probably taking the piss. But you can never tell these days. M Mac says Ekdal. Ginger does go on to say, by the way, he thinks the man of the match is Steve. Jonathan Twig says the roofer that fixed the JMU cladding. I'll let him know because I know a guy who knows him apparently. True Red says Ekdal for man of the match. That's it. Oh, James Thresh says Steve. Just speaking on the yes, I told you he's taking piss. Is Ginger Alley. But yeah, right, Liam, your time to shine, mate. Because you've done some hard work, and I've actually prepared it, mate, and I'm actually bringing it in now on screen for you. In fact, just before I do that, actually. And I'll explain what it is. I just want to quickly give a shout out to the YouTube channel members. I've not done it yet. But big shout out to the YouTube channel members. The names are running at the bottom of your screen now. We really appreciate your support. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. If you do want to join, you get benefits such as early release of shows. Obviously, we can't give early release of the lives because they're live. But the pre-game show is available on early release, and there will be more shows next season because I'm hoping to do more shows next season. So there'll be more shows on early release and potentially, probably exclusive to YouTube channel members as well. And we're working on some other stuff as well. Any ideas, YouTube channel members, let us know, and we can give you some more benefits. But big shout out to all them. Their names are running across at the bottom of your screen. Now, if you want to join, there's a little link underneath in the description that says join the channel here or become a member, whatever it says. Click there and you can join there. But yeah, less of that, more of this. Now, on your screen is all of Liam's hard work. He said to me on WhatsApp today, I've got something very special for you for the show. I was expecting, I don't know, a free shirt from Mazzala Designs. He's given me a few of them, to be fair, so I can't. Beggars can't be choosers. But we got this amazing list, which is talking about basically who we're keeping next season, who we're selling, who we're letting go, who we're keeping next season for the championship. And it's bizarre because actually I'm in like a big WhatsApp group called Premier Clarets or something. I don't know who owns it. I don't know why I'm in it. I've never said anything in there, if I'm honest with you. But every now and then I do read it, and somebody did say, did go into sort of like a big debate about people who are keeping and who are leaving. So it's obviously a topic for debate. But yes, Liam, do you want to explain it in better than me, what we're looking at on screen now, seeing it's your handiwork?
Well, I just had too much free time, really, and just thinking about the team for next season. And basically the names in green are players that so kind of color code it. In green, that's what I think will likely stay. Yellow is kind of maybe sold, maybe moved on in the summer. Orange is unlikely to stay next year. I think that most of them involve players that haven't really played this season or contracts running out. And then red are players that I just don't think will be here next year. So, Wout Weghorst is definitely one of them. And Dooney, I don't think will be here. For Fan, I doubt we'll bring him back. I don't think we can. I can afford it. And like Trezor as well. So just kind of going into what I think we actually may have for next season's team. And I kind of gave my own personal reasons in each kind of play of, why they may stay or why they may go. And most in yellow are due to them being kind of sellable assets. So Oda Bert's one of them, Koleosho maybe one of them, Lyle Foster, Berg could be one of them. Because I would love Berg to stay, but he's one of the only real sellable assets that we have. And if we do need to sell a player, he may have to be one of them, unfortunately. So that's kind of what I just did with my own little spare time. And I think I counted it down. So 13 I got as green as likely will stay for next season. I got 8 as maybe sold, 13 as unlikely, and 5 as probably won't be here. Of course, that's just my own personal opinion. And a group chat that I'm in, I kind of confirmed with them and they kind of felt the same way. So I'm sure the chat may have a different opinion. But it kind of gives an idea in terms of what team we may actually have for next season or what we actually think will be on that field for after September. And of course, we're going to likely bring players in as well. So I'm curious of what turnover we may have for next season because I don't think it'd be anywhere near as drastic as what it has been for the previous 2.
Yeah, you know what? It's mad because obviously I have some contacts. I never pretend to be ITK or anything, but I do have some contacts and I do talk to people. And some of the vibe that I'm getting is it may be another crazy summer. And I keep saying we don't need another one. We don't need another one. But I think it's just a case of getting people on high wages out. An interesting one. Just going back to the WhatsApp group that I said I'm in. There's a lot of stuff here, and I'm not sure. Could just about see. Is Twine on there? He is there. Yeah, Lorne given a chance in the champ, but it's mad when you look at it this way. It's a bit of a mess without us actually realizing how much of a mess it is. So these are the players we've got returning from loan at the end of the season: Twine, Roberts, Weghorst, Mellon, Costello, Dodgson, Zorore, Bastien, Obafemi, and McNally. Then you've got out of contract players. Obviously, this is all on your thing as well. Taylor, JBG, J-Rod, Bailey Peacock Farrell, Jack Cork, and Brownhill. I do believe we have an option on Brownhill, but I'm not sure if we're going to activate it or not. Then you've got the on-loan players returning. So Assignon, JBL, and Trezor. But I think we have an option on the JBL one. But then you've also got some players that we haven't seen. Masengo, Redmond, Al Dakil, we saw him last season, to be fair. Vigouroux, Benson, again, we saw him last year as well. And Ekdal, although he did play yesterday. Big shout out to, I don't know who he is, but I'm in the WhatsApp group with him, and he's called Joe. Great name, by the way, pal. But that was all his handiwork that I've just read out. So on the show, I've stolen Liam's handiwork and put it on the screen. And to read it out, I've stolen another Joe's handiwork and read that out. But yeah, it's interesting. I think I agree. Someone said in the comment here, Burnley fan till I die. I wouldn't, apologies, Andrew, that's gone right over your face. He said, I wouldn't say there's no chance for Amdouni or Trezor to stay. I disagree and agree with Liam on that one. I just can't see Trezor or to be honest with you, if Amdouni's not cutting it in the Prem, is he going to cut it in the Championship? I'm not sure. Trezor would be an absolute beast in the Championship, in my opinion. But again, I agree, it is not going to stay. And then you've got all these ones in orange as well that could be off. And for me, I think you've got to keep the core of the side. You've got to keep Trafford. I would rather have Muric, but I think after the year he's had, Muric might want to leave. But you've got to keep Trafford because I think he that's harsh, but would develop a year, benefit from a year in the Championship and become a better keeper for it. You've got to keep Esteve, which obviously I think we will be doing. I think you've got to keep the centre-backs, so your Daras and your Ekdals. And we do have Amin Al-Dakir as well, who played well in the Championship last season. I think he will play well in the Championship next season. Cullen is the most important player in the team. Why it took him so long, in my opinion, to play in this season is beyond there. Sanderberg is also very important. And up front, I don't know, I like Foster, but I don't know. I would want to keep him. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but I'd maybe bring another striker in and have Foster behind him if we can find another decent striker. I do like Foster and I've stuck up for him a lot. But there's obviously a lot going on with Foster, injury-wise, mental health-wise. So I think it would be wise of us to get another asset for forward play. Andrew, obviously looking at that list, Liam's great work. What are your thoughts on it, please, mate?
To be honest, there's not many that I actually disagree with. There's ones, obviously, my heart wants us to keep J-Rod just because it's J-Rod. My head says, it's probably time for him to go. Masengo, I'd love to see him play. Twine, I'd love to see him play. We got him last year, thought he was going to be absolutely brilliant, and then he got the injury. But he's come back and he's done well. There's, like I say, there's not really anyone I can argue with. Completely agree. Amdouni and Tressor probably won't be here. There's no chance they play in the Championship. To be honest, am I that upset? Tressor would have been, he'd rip it up in the Championship, but he's not going to stay for that. Amdouni, there's obviously a player there. He'd probably rip it up, but again, he's not going to stay. Fofana, we're not going to try and get him back. And that lanky streak of piss whose name begins with W that I'm not even going to say, I never want to see wear a Burnley shirt again.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we ever did, mate, to be fair. So you're what's the word? Safe on that one. Big shout out to Colin McGlynn. I thought I went in on him a bit harsh earlier, but big shout out to you for sending your donation, mate. I do appreciate it. And I will be calmer next time with you. Although to be fair, I thought I dealt it quite well. But I've seen this a couple of times from your Claret and Blue 1882. Trafford going Liverpool. Have I missed something?
No, I heard something slightly different. I've heard that he might be off to Wolves, but the guy I've heard it off, I don't know how trustworthy he is. It's the first time that I've been told something like that by someone who may know someone. So I don't know how trustworthy it is, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Trafford went.
I'd be shocked if we sold him at this stage. I don't see why another Premier League club will come in for him after the season he's had, apart from doing what we did and looking at his potential. Pay up. Like, I wouldn't sell him for 19 million. I'd want to make a profit. If we're going to make a healthy profit on him, say if somebody offers 29, 30, then yes, sell him. But say if someone offers 19,
that's not going to happen, is it?
That's what I mean. It's not going to happen. So
It kind of depends
see how he leaves.
It depends on if he wants to force a move or not, because you can probably tell from sort of fan sort of feeling towards him that he's not been particularly dealt a good hand, I don't think, by company, kind of being thrown in deep end multiple times. And, you kind of want to feel like you're wanted and loved by a club. So he may just not want to be here for that reason alone. I kind of wouldn't blame him for that, really. That's kind of why I'll let him as kind of a yellow. And Muric is a yellow too, because depends if Trafford does stay, then Muric just may not want to be a number 2 in the Championship, so he may go if Trafford does stay. So it's a weird one. But hey, Vigouroux's probably still here, so at least we have that. Yeah. At least we got the League 2. We got the League 2 goalkeeper of the season and League 1 and Championship. So at least we got that going for us, boys.
Yeah. Just another comment from Claret and Blue 1882. He says, my sources from the fan board. Tommy is studying under Allison. Not sure how much truth there is, though. I know quite a few of them on the fan board. I'll put some feelers out, mate. But I would only take a profit off him. I don't see, unless, as Liam said, that he would force a move. But even then, I'd play hardball. I'm like, we've invested a lot of time and money into you. You have essentially, through your shit goalkeeping, helped us get relegated. If you think you're jumping at the first opportunity, you can swivel, sit down, listen, learn, play in the Championship for a year, and earn your right as a fan legend. If he did that, if he was a class goalkeeper next year, Burnley fans would start liking him. I do get he has been dealt a hard card, and a lot of Burnley fans don't like him. And from what I've heard, he's not really enjoying it at the club at the minute. But why would you? You're a young lad under a lot of pressure. Fans not particularly giving you anything nice to go off. So I would understand that. But I'd also, if I was a club, he's an asset that we have invested a lot of money in. Surely they turn around and say, we are getting our return on this asset. You can try and force a move as much as you want. You ain't going anywhere unless somebody pays up. And I would, at the very minimum, take a 5-10 mil profit. But again, as Liam said, I can't see how anyone pays that.
Yeah, that just won't happen. But the hope of what team can have next year, again, because as we've discussed many times, we're having decent control games. It's just the quality in both sides of the pitch that's just not coming together here. It's kind of the players and the experience and like a composure and all that kind of stuff. That's why when it comes to, when we do go down, we do go and play in championship football with Vincent Company, I kind of have no real concerns because, again, if we can sell one player, like let's say Odeberg, because he's probably a real big sellable asset to you. Like, if he does go, it'd probably be in the 15-20 mils, and that's a massive, massive advantage to the championship. And most our players, at least half of them, well, at least they, I'd say. And again, they could develop too. So the style of play we're playing, in terms of the level of quality of the difference between Prem and Championship, I don't have any concerns in next year. And I hope this doesn't bite me in the arse. But yeah, I think that we are, the identity is there, the style play is there. It's just the quality that's the gulf. That's the main difference. And yeah, I'm excited of what could be for next year. And hey, look, we're gonna probably still bring in 8 or 9 new players in. There's already the right back Sambo, I believe his name is, from PSV.
Yeah,
he's
welcome,
already confirmed. So that's already a right back for next year. So Conor Roberts probably maybe making a move. So there's already one move already right there, and that's on a free agent too. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna see some new faces. It'd be all exciting.
100%.
And football fans are all a bit fickle. If we win 2 games in a bounce, first 2 games of the year, and Trafford starts, we all love Trafford, we all love Burnley, we're going up. HMS Pistol League. Let's begin. And we beat bastards all over again.
Thing is, I agree. I'm not too concerned about next season. And again, it might get clipped up and bite me on the arse. But when I look at the players that probably will stay, Corley Orshaw, thanks for want of a better word again, to the injury, will probably stay. I think Odeberg leaves. I think Brownhill leaves. Obviously, Brownhill will be a free, so we won't get a lot of money there. Odeberg, again, like Liam said, potentially 20 million. That's a massive advantage. And then again, like with the players that we're keeping, we will have the Championship Player of the Year at the club next year from last season. Josh Cullen, he is 95% certain going to be there. Hopefully, Sander as well. Sander might. I can understand if a Premier League club came in for Sander. That's probably one of the only ones I'd understand. But as we mentioned earlier, the centre backs, we'd have Esteve, we'd have Ekdal, we'd have Dara. Hopefully, who else is there? I mean, Al Dakil, Jordan Bayer. He's dead, but he might be alive.
Del Claw will probably look pretty good in Championship, and he would actually look really good in Championship as well. We've got, like, as of right now, likely 5-6 actually really good top level championships.
We will not concede a goal at all next season. Okay, that I'm being facetious, obviously, but we will have easily the best defense of the championship next season if all of them stay.
The main concern is probably attack in terms of what we have really. Because we can
comment on screen there.
Most of those players will be here, but attackers, we don't really know if Foster will be here or the better Collie or Shaw maybe. So it's just kind of what happens up top, really, for me.
I agree. We've got at the minute. So what have we got? Yeah, we've got Obafemi's a good shout. Yeah,
Twine, I guess.
Twine. I like Twine, but he's not ripped up any trees in the Championship again this season, and he did okay with us last season. Obviously, the 2 free kicks that he scored, but other than that. But if you look at the strikers we've got now, Foster, that's a maybe. Odeberg, I think you can put a strike through him. I think he's gone. Fafana, he's gone. Obafemi's there as well. Who else have I missed? But I do agree with David's comment on screen. For those of you listening on the podcast, David says we need 2 strikers at least, do we not? I think we definitely need one. If we're keeping Foster, we need one. Melon's a good shout, and he'll get a chance next year. He'll probably be a bit part player if he's not loaned out again, but he could get a chance next year.
And he liked Costello at the start of last season as well, didn't he, Company? So maybe it's time he gets a bit of a chance. A bit more.
This depends on his. I've not seen much of him this year, to be fair, but it depends. No. It depends where he is. Clark Blue in 1882 says, clean sheet championship season. It's on. Honestly, get your money on it. Burnley not to concede a goal all season. After about 4 or 5 games, you probably get a positive cash out. Gamble responsibly.
Responsibly. Don't do that.
Yeah. I've just been doing some work for a bookies all day anyway. I have to constantly say gamble responsibly. So that's why that came out then. But speaking of, the Masters is on. Hopefully Scottish Scheffler's still winning because I get some money if he wins. But yeah, thank you, Liam, for that. It's a good little discussion that, and we probably will do it more in the summer when it all starts happening. But I think the spine of the team next year is pretty much there. Trafford or Muric. If Trafford is going to Liverpool, I can't see the club letting Muric leave again. Then you've got a great defence that we've already mentioned. Josh Cullen will 100% be at the club next year. Hopefully Sander as well. That's your midfield sorted. Then you've got Corley Orshaw, and then bring in another winger, probably JBL anyway. They both will be good in the Championship, especially Corley Orshaw. He's potentially going to be the Championship player of the season next year. He could rip it up. And then, as we've said, it's just the strikers. I like Foster. I defended him a lot. But he wasn't great in the Championship last season. I know he just moved. And he started this season very well. But since his issues, which are obviously big issues, and you can understand why it's gone this way, he has struggled pretty much. And since coming back from his recent injury, I do think he's looked a little bit leggy. But hopefully that's just a fitness thing. So, yeah, I agree. It's going to be strikers that let us down, if anything, boys, I think.
That doesn't matter to have Benson bend him in from 25 yards out each week again.
Yeah.
There you go. If he wants to stay, of course, and he's not been given a chance. But that's the thing with him and Zeruri, I guess. Would they want to stay?
Yeah.
So that's
We've got McNally as well, as the AOI Dragon says. Completely forgot about him. It probably was in your sheet, Liam. We've also got McNally. No, I've just said McNally. What's he called? Egan Riley. That definitely was on your sheet. So it's mad. I think there's a lot of talent there and a lot of sellable assets. So even if we have to sell a lot of players, because a lot of players force a move, we're going to be fine. We're going to bring in a lot of players, and I do think we do well next season. And yeah, again, it might come back to bite me, but I think
it might do. But like that's the thing. Like we're not playing badly. We're not being completely embarrassed each week by making a stupid mistake. Yeah, potentially that's what we're doing right now, of course. But like we're not doing what Sheffield United are doing. We're not getting battered 5-0 at home, 8-0 at home, and all that nonsense. Like. Oh, maybe against Arsenal we are, I guess. But if that's not happened for a while, to be fair, that we've been completely embarrassed.
Yeah.
I just think with company, the idea is still there, the identity is still there. It's just the golfing quality. And I think for the Championship, it's gonna be shocking, I think, for some fans, exactly because we need to be reminded again of exactly how big the golfing quality is. People will call Aldecchio a donkey, but then forget the fact that he looks like a world beater in Championship. That's how big the difference is.
Yeah, completely agree. Right, I've just realised it's an hour and a half. So unless there's anything you want to add, boys, Andrew's missus is probably going, "What are you doing? Why are you taking so long?" Because it's the first time he's ever been on it. Obviously, mine and Liam's will completely understand. But we will start wrapping it up.
Anyway,
fair enough.
I'm usually watching
enough.
It, so.
Is she in front room watching, you know?
She's in bedroom watching, yeah.
Oh, hello to Andrew's missus. Yeah, if there's anything you want to say, get your comments in now because we will start wrapping it up. But a massive shout out to Liam for coming on. A massive shout out to Andrew. Liam's ready to say something. What is it you want to say, mate?
Just we got Sheffield United up next. So
we have to,
I don't know what to say about that, really. Like
we have to win, but not in the point of we have to win to stay up, because I do agree we're down. But just to avoid embarrassment, please don't lose that one, Burnley.
I just still can't believe we beat them 5-0. Yeah. I just don't know. Like, I cannot believe that happened.
Yeah, absolutely blew them away. John says, I want to add Vizzy and goal to the end of the season. Well, if the club pay for his flights, he will 100% do it. He'll probably pay for himself, to be fair. If the opportunity,
I'll pay for myself.
He'll probably do it himself. But Liam, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure. All the way from Poland. I love having you on the show, mate. It's good that you regularly want to do it. And Andrew, I hope you've enjoyed your debut on the live streams, mate. It's been a pleasure. I'm loving the fact that you're able to come on and do it. I was a little bit worried when we started because your internet were rubbish, and I thought, oh God, please tell me his internet's all right. But it's held up pretty strong, to be fair.
Yeah, it's done all right on it. I thought that when I thought, oh God, first one, debut, not working. But no, thank God it's worked out. Thank you for having us on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on, mate. Raj Sharma, he's one of the OGs. He says, late to the party, ship result, we are gone. He's also a member of the YouTube channel. As you can see, his name's going across at the bottom of the screen, and he's got a little logo next to his name. That's another benefit you get from joining the channel. If you do want to join the channel, there's a link in the description. There's also a little button that says join, but we are going to wrap it up here. And if, like Raj, you came late, don't worry, because when I end this stream, you can go back and watch it in the entirety. And there'll also be a podcast that I'll put up pretty much straight away as well. So thank you, everybody watching. Thank you, everybody listening. A massive shout out to the boys for coming on. Liam, Andrew, myself, it's been a pleasure. And we'll see you next time. Hopefully it'll be a positive chat. But if we get beat by Sheffield United, I reckon I just get everybody on and we just cry for an hour, because it will pretty much feel like
I'll start laughing. I'll be laughing at that stage.
Yeah, you'll be laughing hysterically. I'll be crying. Sam will be angry if he's could be bothered. Neil will Neil will just be shrugging, and Andrew will put his cap on backwards and cry. But yeah, thank you boys for coming on. I appreciate it. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. I'll see you for the pre-game show. Goodbye.